All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and the Starcom Radio Network. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And, of course, you can always listen to the X Zone 724, 365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Don't forget, X Zone Nation, that on Wednesday, I'm making sure I've got the right date here, Wednesday, the 30th of September, 2015, we will have the debate of all debates when it comes to the Billy Meyer case of UFOs. Stanton T. Friedman will be debating Michael Horn here on the X Zone. Michael is the North American representative for Billy Meyer, so it's going to be a very interesting hour, 2 hours, 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. And after the interview, we're going to be having a discussion with a panel of experts. That is on Wednesday, September 30th. So from 8 until 10, the debate, 10 until midnight, the review with our experts. X Zone Nation, I'd like you to listen to something here. If Craig, can we roll it?
Hi, I'm WIYAKA. I'm the founder, director, and owner of Path Home Shamanic Arts School. Path Home is a one-of-a-kind state-certified occupational school of shamanic arts. We train and certify shamanic teachers and shamanic practitioners. I'm also the preceptor for University of Colorado School of Medicine, where I teach doctors about the interface between shamanism and allopathic medicine. I'm an author of all the school texts, and my latest book is So We're Still Here Now What? Spiritual Evolution and Personal Empowerment in a New Era. So what does it mean to be a state-certified occupational school? Well, it means that all the teachers, all the curriculum is on file with the state of Colorado. I'm a certified shamanic instructor with the state of Colorado. The school is a certified school of shamanic arts of the state of Colorado. All of our tuition is bonded. I'm bonded, so your tuition is covered. We have a legal and binding contract that is in the form of the catalog, so you can look at that and see exactly what you can expect from this program. And we're held strictly to these rules. That's what makes it, the certification is really to protect the student so that their interests are covered, that the classes are consistent, and they're getting what they're paying for. Shamanism is an ancient practice. It's as old as either 40 to 50,000 years old. It's based in every indigenous culture on the planet and is now being kind of rebirthed in a way because it is the key to spiritual evolution and to our evolving as human beings. Shamanism has been viewed from the outside as a mystical, magical practice by anthropologists, but actually shamanism is an organized set of rituals to help the individual focus their natural ability to manage matter at the quantum level. So what does such an ancient practice have for practicality in our world today? Well, again, shamanism has been greatly misunderstood as mythical, mystical, magical, and in a way it is all of those things. But actually, shamanism is the basis behind getting more information of what's about to happen at the quantum level. The quantum level of life is where the push-pull of our experience begins. In other words, illness starts in an imbalance in the quantum level and then follows down through the other three levels of our being, emotional, mental, and physical. Also, if we're going to find the way to walk our life in a good way and cooperate with the light way life works, the ability to connect with the information at the quantum level is the key to manifesting with the support of the universe behind us. So what practicality do we have with shamanism as an everyday person? Maybe you don't want to be a shamanic practitioner. Maybe you just want to study the esoteric. The classes that we hold can empower a person to go into the shamanic journey trance. Once in the shamanic journey trance, you can learn how to access and interpret information that gives you an idea of what's going on at the quantum level. It also helps you more deeply understand where you've disconnected from yourself and from life in order to reconnect and live a more powerful, informed, and effective life. We've just revamped the way we offer the classes, and I'm really excited about it. It used to be a 2-year certification program, so that pretty much limited to people that were close to the area. Now we've changed it, so we've changed it into 6 block formats. A person can take any or all. You get a completion certificate at the end of each block. The blocks run about 7 days apiece, and we stagger them around so that a person can take them at their rate rather than be stuck in a program and have to put their lives on hold while they're going through it. If you're just interested in learning about shamanism, you can take the first 1, 2, or 3 blocks and really change your life. If you're interested in becoming a certified shaman.
And there you go, Exonation. My guest this hour is GWILDA WIYAKA. She is with the Path Home Shamanic Art School. Their website is www.findyourpathhome.com. And GWILDA, welcome back to the X Zone, my dear friend. How are things in Colorado?
Well, things are wonderful in Colorado, and it's so nice to hear your voice.
Nice talking to you, too, again. Let's see, the last time you and I talked, you were just finishing off your new home. Have you finished it?
I'm sitting in it as we speak.
How does it feel?
It feels wonderful. I'm out in the middle of the mountains in a real quiet place. It's delightful.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. So your classes are going to start soon, right?
Yes, they are. The registration deadline for Block 1 is September 15th, and then the classes are going to start October 8th through the 12th.
How are things going? Are you getting excited? Or, do you get excited when you start a new class knowing that you're going to be helping people to change so many lives using what you're teaching?
Yes, I do. It's always fascinating to see who's drawn at this particular time in a group that comes together. And it seems like there's no accidents, just a beautiful synergy, and holding the classes is always exciting.
Wow. For the listeners who may not have, who've just joined the networks, can you tell them what shamanism is and what a shaman does?
Sure. People, again, it's been greatly misunderstood. It's been viewed as a mystical, magical practice with a lot of burning of sage and shaking of rattles and chopping off chickens' heads. And that's kind of what it looked like to anthropologists from the outside. But really, that the ritual in shamanism is an organized set of procedures that a person undergoes in order to manage matter at the quantum level. And so every tradition has different practices. The bottom line is it's being able to access information and or have an effect at the quantum level of life. And the quantum level of life is where the push-pull of reality begins. So if we can read what's about to come, we can find our sweet spot in it. Or if we can read where there's a glitch in the quantum level creating dysfunction in our lives, we can correct that.
How did the ancients who developed shamanism know about the quantum levels when we're just learning about them now?
Well, that's what's so interesting. You don't have to know what you're doing to do it. Like, I don't have to know what drives my car to drive it. So, I don't know where the practice originated. I do know it's an earth-based, but I also know it's star-based. And so, like I said, you don't have to know what makes that engine run to drive a car successfully. And these practices have been handed down for generations, and the people perform the practice, and you do this and you do that, and the next thing happens. And so that's where this mythological kind of dressing came around it, is nobody did really understand for a lot of years here what's really going on. And as we get more and more into quantum physics, which is a study of the earth and nature at the microscopic level or subatomic level, then the two start to come together. Magic and science can merge, and I'm getting a deeper understanding of how both of them work.
Is there a common thread that you've seen over the years teaching as well as practicing shamanism when it comes to the people who want to follow shamanism and take your courses?
Yes, it's always, a huge mixed bag, but a lot of times, a lot of the signs and are people that they know there's something more to themselves. Mm-hmm. They feel a little, they have extra perceptions, or they have feelings that come over them and they don't understand them, or they're a dreamer and they get all these signs and symbols that then come true. They've had a feeling that there's more to life than what they've been able to access, or they access it spontaneously and want to learn how to access it reliably and consistently at will. Other people just get, I have a lot of doctors that join my classes because they, I'm a preceptor of the University of Colorado. They start looking at what's going on with my lectures and this and that, and they go, I want to know a little bit more about this. So they're coming in from the other angle, from the scientific angle, and able to embrace another method that they can get information about their clients in order to heal them. So they don't have to feel that they have extra gifts to perform quite effectively in the field.
Are you finding that more and more of the Western medical community are looking at alternative philosophies such as shamanism and applying it to their day-to-day practices?
Yes, I really think so. Again, evidenced by the University of Colorado School of Medicine, where they actually have an entire course on alternative practices and learn about them and learn how to interface with them. And I think the public is driving this because, let's face it, nobody is everything to anybody. And Western medicine absolutely has its place. And that's one of the things that I've kind of objected to. A lot of the alternative practitioners say, well, I have the answer and Western medicine is all wrong, because that's not true. It's all a matter of teamwork. And if we can work together using every tool that we can find, we can better serve our people.
It sounds like life in general. If we work together, can you just imagine what a beautiful planet this will one day be when everyone realizes, hey, we're here. We're part of the same tree. We fell off the same tree. We're humans. Instead of working against each other, work with each other.
We'll be unstoppable at that point, Rob. I really believe it.
And I believe it's people like you who have the vision, who have the love, the growth, and the desire to make it happen, who are going to be at the forefront, my friend. Well,
thank you so much. I think that you're doing your part too here, sir.
I'm just a funny little Irishman in Hamilton, Ontario. Now, what are some of the things, or some of the, I guess things, or what will your students learn in your first block of the course that you're offering?
That's a powerful block because it contains lower world journey and upper world journey. So right there, they learn the foundational piece to every shamanic practice, and that's the shamanic journey trance. Or it's an altered state of consciousness that is actually measurable. When I go into journey space, my alpha brain waves drop to 7.5 hertz, which is the same as the planet, and I can reproduce it at will. I've had a lot of doctors do EEGs on me to see what's going on there, and it happens every time. And they learn to interpret the metaphor they get. They learn to work with the information that's coming through. So that's part of it. Then they have a class that's called Power Animals and Helping Spirits. And that's one where they learn to work with the metaphor of the power animal or helping spirit. And it's just, again, a metaphor to help interpret and work the shamanic principle in a safe and sound and responsible manner. And then they take a class called Life Purpose, where we go into depth about what life purpose really means. People think the purpose of their life is whatever job they have or this or that or the next thing. And this class is just really life changing because it changes the whole perspective. What are we here for? What do we want to be here for? How do we work it? So it's a very powerful first block and very life changing. If somebody does nothing but take that first block, they've gotten the tools to access information to empower their lives. And that's really kind of taken us out of the system that tries to overpower us.
All right. Now, when you say the shamanistic trance, and you're able to lower is it your vibration that you're lowering to meet the Mother Earth's vibration? or
no, actually
energy?
my entire overall frequency probably becomes a lot more expansive, but my brain waves shift. So I'm like taking the brain offline and going into a state where my imagination is open. So the brain kind of aligns with the frequency of the planet. Then the imagination becomes the palette that the journey or the story is painted on. When I come back it's like an interactive dream. So there's a lot of metaphor and this and that. And when I come back from the journey, then I write it down and I engage the brain again to interpret the information that I got in metaphorical form. So it's a three-pronged deal. You're getting your brain out of the way, aligning it with the planet, with the way life really works. Your frequency becomes much more expansive and you're engaging your imagination. And that's really what the imagination is for. And I have to say that that's why so much of our fiction books are coming true now. So many things that I read Arthur C. Clarke or this or that 100 years ago, but a lot of it has come true because they were engaging their imagination to write these books and actually reading the trend happening at the quantum level.
Fascinating. Truly fascinating. Would this be like a living dream? I'm sorry, a waking dream, a living dream, a waking dream.
Yes, I call it an interactive dream. So when I'm in a journey trance, there are certain predictable things that happen because it's the way I come, the way I go, it's part of my practice. But within that, there comes this storyline, whether I'm journeying for myself or for another person. And that storyline is a metaphorical representation of what's happening at the quantum level. Our brain can't conceive of that because it's linear. And the quantum level is not linear at all. It's unity. And so that's why we have to have a translation point, and it's the dream state or the imagination.
Once again, I'm listening to you, and my mind is going to the figures of shamans, of Native Americans, and those in the Brazilian jungles, and I'm saying, how in the name of heaven did these people know all about this?
Well, Rob, it's been passed down for so many generations, and there's a lot of evidence that we were actually seeded here, or certain lines of us were actually seeded here from somewhere else.
Right.
And I really believe the traditions came from there. I also believe that through the shamanic journey trance, in fact, I know because I experience it, we're able to connect with beings that are off planet, that are related to us, that care what's going on, and give us direction and guidance. And I know that that's how the Mayan calendar was written. I mean, the Mayan calendar is based on wheels within wheels of the way the universes interact, the way the galaxies interact, the frequency that's created by that dictates the overall ambient frequency on the planet at any time. And that's where astrology comes in. But this is much bigger. Astrology is as the sun, the earth moves around the sun and all that fun stuff. This is intergalactic interaction, and there's no way the Mayans had the knowledge base to create that. They had to have accessed it rather than created it. And when they're looking at a lot of the scratchings on the walls that they found about the Mayan calendar, it's really more like someone trying to figure out the information than someone creating it. And your Mayan people that were working with it were both mathematicians and shaman, which is very fascinating to me. So I really think it came from off planet.
Something I was very, very surprised and amazed to learn when we were doing our specials on the Mayan calendar going back to 2012, and when we went down to the Mayan area of Mexico, was that one of the archaeologists that we had the pleasure of working with for the week we were down there actually brought Ezekiel's wheel into it and said, if you take the structure of Ezekiel's wheel as described in the Christian Bible, it parallels that of the Mayan calendar.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that someone else had said that because I've actually written that in my book. So we're still here now. What? Wheels within wheels.
Yes. And
put the biblical quote in there right next to a picture of the wheels of the Mayan calendar. And it's these cogs that fit together. And it's just fascinating to see.
It is. Do you believe or does reincarnation fit into the shamanistic belief system?
Yes, I can't speak for all shamanic practices because I'm not familiar with all of them. There's a shamanic-based culture at the base of any of our nationalities. But all the ones that I've studied have a provision for past life healing and understand past life. You know, energy is never created nor is it destroyed.
True.
We're basically toroidal beings, and then we gather together through the electromagnetic attraction the raw materials to create the body, and that's how we incarnate through the mother and the father and create a body. Okay, so that's how we incarnate here. But we don't start here, we don't end here. We go on forever, and how we come back and how we choose to come and what past life mean is well beyond me. All I know is that in healing sessions, I'm oftentimes sent to a past life incident that is affecting the person negatively now, and we correct that.
When you go to these other places when you're working with people, are you putting yourself in any harm's way? And if so, how do you protect yourself?
Yes, and it has to be taken seriously. And when I start people in the beginning levels, I give them all these checks and balances so that they can journey and come back in a very coherent and safe manner. When you start getting into some of the more advanced practices, you can certainly become inundated if you don't know what you're doing. And that's, people take this lightly. They have a weekend course and they hang out their shingle because there's no regulation around it. And people misunderstand the depth of the practice and the ramifications of being sloppy with it, of violating other people's boundaries. Because the good news about this stuff is it works. The bad news is it really works. And you're going to be practicing sorcery by violating the laws of nature and other people's privacy if you don't know how to put in the checks and balances. So yes, it can be dangerous to the practitioner. Yes, it can be dangerous to people around you if you don't know the checks and balances and don't implement them.
So is it shamanism when checks and balances are in place? When checks and balances are not in place, it's called sorcery?
That's kind of my definition, but yes. Shamanism and sorcery are very, very close together. And I teach my students these 5 basic laws to keep them out of trouble. One is shamanism works within the laws of nature. Shamanism never takes energy away from where it does belong. It never imposes energy where it doesn't belong. It always works with permission. Okay? And it's very, very important to follow those laws because otherwise I can literally journey into somebody else's space and find personal information about them that I have no business knowing. And that's a violation. That's sorcery. When I try to affect a change at the quantum level, I always work backed by a person's intention and bottom line if I'm doing healing work for them. And then also my intent is to best serve all concerned and not see anything or know anything that doesn't serve this person at this time. So I have to set those in place, and that way I keep it clean. But, like I said, it really works. So, example I have is one time I was at a psychic fair because I was advertising the school.
Right.
And I said, well, I'll try this psychic over here. And I went in, I sat down. Nice lady, very gifted. But halfway through the session, she starts telling me about my son and whether he's going to have children or not. And she starts telling me about my daughter. And I went, whoa, stop at the bus. You don't have their permission to access them through me.
Right.
That's a violation, but she didn't have that kind of training, so she didn't know. And that's why training and following these rules in all of these esoteric skills is so very important.
Explanation, my guest this hour is GWILDA WIYAKA. Oh, you see, I'm getting it better. She's the...
You're getting better every day.
Thanks, sweetie. She's the lady who is in charge of the Path Home Shamanic Arts School. Their website is www.findyourpathhome.com. She has a shaman course that is coming up, and all the information on the course is available on her website. And once again, it's www.findyourpathhome.com. GWILDA, you and I have to take a little short commercial break here. We'll be right back. After all, this is the X Zone and X Zone Nation. Once again, GWILDA's website is findyourpathhome.com. 800-610-7035 worldwide toll free. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. and our main website where you can listen to us 24/7, 365. www.xzoneradiotv.com. We'll both be back on the other side of this short break. Don't go away.
Manifestation is driven by imagination, intent, and passion. In our culture, all three have been distorted and disabled by modern media and exploitation. Re-engage your imagination and your passion by entering into the world of paranormal romance. Kahir O'Donnell takes her readers on an exciting journey into the endless possibilities of loving, passionate, and mutually respectful male-female relationship. Her latest book, The Long Dark Night, features special ops adventure, a daring rescue, a psychic woman from the stars, and a special agent that will die to protect her. The Long Dark Night by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Jeff Gilson didn't go out looking for adventure, danger, or the answers to most of the controversial political intrigues of the past 30 years. But he found all three when he began investigating the mysterious death of his close friend, Margaret Thatcher's favorite speechwriter. Just an ordinary guy living in a small, sleepy suburb 20 miles outside of London, Jeff's questions provoked a powerful response on both sides of the Atlantic. He was shot at, warned off by the CIA, and formed a close bond with one of Israel's most notorious intelligence officers. Relive Jeff's gripping adventure in his fast-paced book, Maggie's Hammer. Peel away the layers of establishment deception and discover, as Jeff did, that his friend was an assassin with British intelligence, that Great Britain has been America's secret hitman for the past 30 years, and that Princess Diana was not the target in that Parisian tunnel. All of this and more when you visit www.maggieshammer.com and find the link to buying this explosive book online. More and more ordinary people feel they no longer have control of their lives. Jeff fought back. He asked the difficult questions. He set out to redesign his own destiny, and you can do the same using Maggie's Hammer as your guide. Don't waste a moment. Buy it today. Visit www.maggieshammer.com. Good real estate websites are not just about showing listings, but offering visitors valuable information about neighborhoods, market statistics, tips, and personal insights. Luckily, you will find that on Roost, but you won't on many other real estate websites in Budapest. That's why we created Roost. Roost is a website with tailored results for the foreign investor, curated by Hungarian-loving expats who found their home abroad and decided to roost in Budapest. Let Roost help you get started on the right foot. Whether you intend to live, work, play, retire, or simply invest abroad, Roost offers all types of properties in Budapest, from affordable studios to luxury homes. From neighborhood insights like where to grab a great coffee or how to buy property, our team of local experts can answer your questions and speak to the direct concerns of a foreign investor. Buying foreign property is an exciting and complex adventure. It can also be very time-consuming and costly if you don't have the best information and resources at hand. Roost provides professional real estate services and assistance to an international clientele of foreign property investors and rental apartment owners in Budapest. For more information on Roost, visit their website at www.roost.co. That's www.rooste.co.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Ron McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. WIYAKA is our special guest this hour. She's with the Path Home Shamanic Art School in Colorado. Their website is www.findyourpathhome.com. And GWILDA, you've got these courses that are coming up in later on in September. After September's course, when are the next courses planned for?
Well, the registration deadline for the next block is going to be November 16th, and the classes are going to run October 12th through the 17th. And all these classes, these ones that we've been talking about, are going to be held in the mountains of Colorado.
Beautiful. How did you ever end up in Colorado?
Well, it's interesting. I kind of grew up all over the planet, and then I went to school in Wyoming for a while, and then I married when I was in Wyoming. And my husband at the time was originally from Colorado, and he brought me here on my honeymoon to a very close place to where I am right now. And I fell in love because I love Switzerland better than any place else I've been, and this place so reminds me of it. So we moved here, and I had our children here, and I've been here for, ever since the 70s, yeah.
I love looking at pictures of Colorado. It looks so beautiful, so vast, so pristine.
It is amazing. And the wildlife, in parts of the wildlife is still just amazing. It's just a wonderful place to be.
So let's talk a little bit more about your course, because I think this is fascinating. And as I said before, here you're teaching people not only to help themselves, but to help others. And that's what life is all about, people helping people. You're teaching them about the shamanic path, how to do things the right way. And something that I don't think a lot of our listeners may have caught on, but your school is licensed.
Yes, it's certified by the state of Colorado, and that's quite a process. To my knowledge, it's the only state-certified school of shamanic arts in the country. And like I said, it's quite a process. So I'm actually registered with the state of Colorado. I'm certified by the state of Colorado as an instructor, and the school itself is certified, and that means all my courses are regulated. I'm bonded. We have bonded tuition. It's pretty amazing, and I'm listed with all the other occupational schools of the state on their website.
And there's one word that you did not mention that I think is so important these days. You're credible. You're professional. Yeah, and you're ethical. All right, so that was 3 words. I'm sorry, Craig.
Yes, I remember years and years ago when massage was just starting to be reintroduced, and it is a powerful, helpful, non-invasive modality. But it'd been used as a cover for other things for so long.
I was just going to say,
that,
when you
the
think
leading edge people were accused of doing not so shady things, right? And then eventually the Boulder College of Massage was formed, and they called it the Harvard of Massage because they started putting out amazing people that now doctors refer people to, insurance companies pay for, and we're kind of on the leading edge of that in this field, I believe.
It seems that a lot of things that are at the leading edge come from Colorado. Is there a specific reason for that, or is that's just the mentality of the people there?
Well, Rob, I think a place just like we talk horoscope and the energies that affect people based on where the planets are at any given time, I think that also applies to land masses. Yeah. And Colorado's right on the continental divide. So we're where the water begins. Very close to where I'm sitting right now, the water runs 2 directions, the eastern slope and the western slope. And that water has crystal in it. I mean, it's crystalline, and it is a universal solvent. And so when you're up here where it all begins, it's really a high-frequency place to be, and it's very inspiring area to be in. That and the fact that there's not as much inundation in some of the areas. In other words, you're out in the wilderness, you're in the mountains, and you can really align better with the way life works, and because you get to watch it, you get to be in it. I think all of that plays a part.
When people come to your courses in Colorado, they must just leave in awe.
Yeah, people love the area, and then as in the more advanced classes, I start teaching people how to interface their practice with getting their toes in the dirt, with getting out there and working with the real element of fire, with working with the water, just doing it on site. And that's so empowering because we've disconnected from the way life works by disconnecting from nature and from the planet to our extreme detriment. And I really believe that's why we have the chaos we do now, is the true alignment where all of us can become one is in the way life works. And the planet is a living example of the way life works totally together. Human beings are the only one that have to pay to eat.
Wow. That's true. That is so true. I never thought of that. Is it too late for the human race?
I don't think so, Rob. I think we're going through an amazing transformation, and each according to their gifts, each according to their limitation, and each according to their intent.
When you look at the world today, you and I have talked many times off air, and I used to get up and I used to turn the TV on to CNN while I was having my morning coffee. I don't do that anymore. I get up, get my morning coffee with my bowl of Captain Crunch. Yes, Craig, I still eat Captain Crunch. He's worse than my mother, this guy. And and I turn on the Comedy Channel. I start my day off with a laugh.
What a beautiful way to do it, because it's like this gloom and doom, and who knows how much of it is true, and we know there's a lot of hype and hysteria because that's what sells.
Yep.
And do we want to start our diet with that?
Not really.
It's not a way to lead into my day. I'll tell you for sure.
Yeah. Listen, I've got to ask you something. As an American and as someone I consider a friend, what do you think about Donald Trump?
Well, there's a lot going on there, and I can't consider myself an expert, and I can't really say that I've been following it real close, because just like with everything else, my job is holding center in the way life works versus getting pulled one way or the other by what's going on in the ordinary reality. So I'm not a good person to ask for insight on that, but it's pretty fascinating to watch.
It sure is. We were talking about the doom and gloom of the world and the negativity, and it's pretty bad when two people from a TV station go out to cover an event and they're both killed by a disgruntled employee. Now, what does this tell you as a shamanic practitioner and someone who I consider to be very grounded? What does this tell you about the state of society?
Well, what's happening, Rob, and these are symptoms of it, is the imbalance that we have lived for a lot of years was being supported by where we were in the universe to a certain extent. Even follow the Mayan calendar, right, or the horoscope, or the journeys and the legends and the prophecies, all of them have been pointing to this time when the earth is moving into an area of higher frequency. Well, that means it no longer supports the more polarized, lower frequency things. And it's like sitting in a pressure cooker. The higher frequency is driving to the surface all the hidden dysfunction in society. It's just a matter of where it's going to bubble up next, but it's going to bubble up. And, you know, we need to ride this out, because anytime you leave one system, the polarized, exploitive system, say, for instance, you have to go into total chaos before you enter into a new system. There's this experiment that was done years ago in the 1800s with sound. And this gentleman, I believe he was a celloist, but he took a plate of sand and he ran his bow across it at a particular note. And the sand would go into chaos, and then it would form a predictable pattern. He would change the tone or change the note, and the sand would go into chaos, and then it would form another exact pattern, but different than the first. And each pattern would reproduce itself with that particular note. So reality is created by frequency. And he was demonstrating how each frequency has a different reality. It was a beautiful patterns. They were all drawn out and everything, and they reproduce it right now. But the other important part of that to recognize is that chaotic stage when you're moving from one phase to the next, and that's what we're experiencing right now.
Are we experiencing a purging? Are we getting rid of the negativity and getting ready for the new age?
Yes, for lack of anything better to say. The fourth world moving into the fifth world was prophesied by various natives, and that's what this time in also by the Mayan calendar. And that's what's going on, is world meaning reality, frequency, set of influences that dictates the movement of humankind. And that what is being supported now is different than what was being supported 20 years ago. Each age supports different activity in the horoscope, and each age or each, day and night in the Mayan calendar supports different things. But it's like saying, okay, so are we killing off the animals? Well, no, but as climate changes, all of a sudden the polar bears are breeding with the grizzly bears, and a third kind of bear is coming into being. This cyclic thing has gone on for eons. So it's not really, I don't like to think of it as purging so much as transforming.
What other changes can we expect?
Well, the children coming in, because they're coming into a higher frequency time, are able to incarnate in a more whole form. So we're having amazing gifted ones born. There were some that were born before their time, and they were called the indigos.
Right.
Then we went into the crystals and the rainbows, but some of these children coming in, they have their lights on. And also, those of us that came in lower frequency times are starting to have the opportunity to kind of gather parts of ourselves that didn't get to come in, but we can embrace them now because the frequency is available to accommodate it. But that is a result of shamanic healing and evolution. But we can do that. We can change our lives. We can change our frequency. We can change the very essence of who we are.
How hard is it to do?
Well, you got to look at your stuff. There's that.
Right.
Coming out of denial is never fun. It's kind of like when your hand gets cold and then it goes numb, and you got to do something about it, but it's not going to be fun to thaw out. We've had a blind eye to our own lives, to our families, to the world the way it works. There's a lot of denial that has made this situation possible, and the light's being shined in the dark corners right now. We're really being confronted with a choice. We can stick our head deeper and deeper and deeper in the sand, quite frankly, to our detriment, because it drops our frequency more and more and more, and we become increasingly dysfunctional. Or we can roll up our sleeves, own our stuff, and move through it.
I'd rather be part of a solution than part of a problem any day.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And it gets easier. That's the good news. It's like, I had a client say, why do I put off soul retrieval so long? I'm suffering with these patterns. I'm beating my head against a wall. And in an hour, my whole life changes if I come in and get a soul retrieval. Why do I put it off? I said, sometimes more suffering needed.
Well, yeah. How do we know if we're bringing stuff from a past life into this life?
Well, you can bet you are.
Really?
Because like I said, we come in with a certain imprint of places that we've had to disconnect from ourselves that have caused dysfunction. If those aren't healed in a lifetime, then they're carried forward as kind of like a glitch in the system. If a person can totally embrace the healing and the evolution, particularly in times of high frequency like this, they can actually kind of ascend or move beyond that carrying forward and carrying. They call it karma. Carrying forward the damage of your history, past life included. And Jesus was a perfect example of someone that processed enough that he could simply ascend out of the situation and not have to come back carrying all that baggage.
Yeah, but look who his father was.
Well, that's pretty bait, right?
Hey, imagine going.
He said, at one point, we were all the children of God, and I find that very interesting.
Yeah, you think your father's so good because he is the high priest in the temple? Ha! I've got news for you. Oh, heavens. Where do you see religion and philosophy in the years to come based on what you're seeing as a shaman?
Well, let's just answer that. I have to go into the history a little bit in that. The last time we were in this top period of light, of higher frequency, we were in what they call the garden state, where man was one with God, or humans were one with God. In other words, they had direct access to spirit, to spiritual information, to the quantum level, to be co-creators. And then as we moved out of that phase and go into the lower and lower frequency times in this cyclic nature that the planet travels around the universe, that access started to be challenged. And so then those with genetic predisposition to being able to access higher frequencies became the wise people, and others turned to them. Then we got even darker, and it was people had with the genetic predisposition doing ritual could reconnect. And then it got to the point where only doing ritual when cloistered, and that's when we ended up with our monks, people that were cloistered and did ritual and had the predisposition to access the higher frequencies. And then there came a time when you couldn't access it all, and all we had left was the ritual. And that's when dogma came in. That's when we started painting our myths onto the rituals that were simply an access point for spirit or the quantum level. And as we're moving out, the reverse is going to start to happen. Dogma is going to be exposed for dogma. So if you're moving slower, it's like looking at a still photograph. When you get into higher frequencies, it's like a flip book. So a still photograph can be interpreted thousands of ways. But when you start adding motion to it and continuum to it, truth is exposed. And that's what we're in the process of doing. So religion and dogma absolutely had its place because it was our only access point for quite some time. However, it's become exploited and misused, and that's part of what's coming to the light at this time.
So would you say that right now humanity is in the cocoon stage, waiting to evolve into the butterfly, so to speak?
Yes, and I also believe that there are a lot of people on the planet that came to assist that. So, saying that about humanity as a whole isn't necessarily accurate. I think we all came to play our part, whether we're the ones evolving or the ones aiding the evolution. It's an organism growing, and each plays its part.
So how do you know if you're one of these people who have come to help?
Well, it's like there's this driving force that you can't ignore.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like anybody else. Very often you look at your family and go, was I exchanged in the hospital? Not that there's anything wrong with your family, but you just don't feel like one of them, you know?
Oh, you've met my family. Huh?
Yeah. And there's always a feeling of there's a lot more to life than what people are looking at here.
Right.
And I want to find out what it is. So it's a burning desire to know, and it's a burning desire to be of assistance. And also, those of us that kind of came to help this time, we're more fifth world kind of people. We're hot wired to work in win-win scenarios, not exploitation. And as a result, we've taken a beating for the last years because we're living in the fourth world where exploitation is the way of the world.
Wow. So we've got a lot of great things to look forward to.
You know, I really think we do, Rob. I'm very excited about it.
Once again, how does it feel knowing that you're teaching people and you're preparing them and you're getting them ready to help? That must be so satisfying for you.
You know, it really is, Rob. It's like doing what I came to do and keeping my eye on that, whatever it is, because it changes moment by moment as to what it looks like in ordinary reality.
Yeah.
But my eye has always been on assisting this transition because I've always known since I was a preteen that it was coming and that I needed to be a part of it, and to be allowed that, to be put in a position or to have put myself in a position to really do that is so satisfying.
Gwilda, we've got about 2 minutes left. Tell our listeners about your course. Give them a little bit of an idea what they can expect and how they can sign up for your course, if there's any spots open.
Yes. Oh, yes, there is. We still have some openings, and to find out more about it at your own leisure, if you go to findyourpathhome.com, www.findyourpathhome.com, and then click on the school. It's a little red schoolhouse on the front page. It'll take you in and tell you all about the courses and everything else. We have them in block format now, so people can come from all over the world and spend a week in beautiful Colorado and have a life-changing experience.
What is your message tonight, Gwilda, for the entire
My
Exo
message
Nation?
tonight. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, what is your message tonight for the Exo Nation?
For the X Zone Nation. You're listening to the X Zone because you're looking for the truth. And the truth is within you as well as without you. And the truth you align with is the truth that you support. So keep the heart, keep the hope. You're not alone out there.
Gwilda, it's always a great pleasure talking to you, my friend. We're going to have you back on in the next couple of weeks to talk more about your course, more about shamanism, and to share these good words that you always have to share with us here in the X Zone. Until then, my friend, take care of yourself. Always a great pleasure having you on the show.
A pleasure being with you, my friend Rob.
Take care now, dear. Exo Nation, for more information, www.findyourpathhome.com. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. So until tomorrow night, take care of each other, help each other, and always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.